The tsunami that struck Japan in 2011 was a horrible tragedy that claimed the lives of many people. But while we understand why the tsunami happened, some things popped up in its aftermath that seem to defy explanation. Can you explain any of the 10 mysterious sightings after the Japanese tsunami? It's no mystery how to make sure you don't miss any great videos from TheHUB. Just click the subscribe button to stay up to date. Ghostly passengers. It's a classic urban legend. A hapless man gives a lift to a beautiful young woman, but it turns out she was a ghost the entire time. I've been on worse dates, but this scenario was reported to have occurred many times over the site of the tsunami. Senior sociology student Yuka Kudo interviewed local taxi drivers and collected their stories. Although many became angry at her questions, 7 were eager to share their haunting experiences. The stories were similar in nature. A driver picks up a passenger, but once they reach their destination, the passenger had completely vanished. One driver even provided records of unpaid fares in his driver's report. Although we don't know for sure, this could be a manifestation of a psychiatric condition known as grief hallucinations, which is not unheard of when it comes to suffering a major tragedy, such as a tsunami. It may just be a form of bereavement, but this ghost story is truly haunting. UFO sightings. Just like rainbows are known to follow rainstorms, UFO experts believe that UFO sightings are likely to coincide with natural disasters. They believe that aliens may be trying to give us ignorant humans an advance warning of the impending catastrophe. How would aliens know our own planet better than us? Through seismo-traveling ionospheric disturbances, which is a scientifically proven phenomenon, where enormous amounts of surface motion translate to powerful waves that travel through the atmosphere. For whatever reason, after the tsunami, there were indeed massive UFO sightings reported. Although popular UFO websites proclaim that they have clearly identified these unidentified flying objects, others are skeptical of these claims. In one such video, several objects appear to be flying through the plumes of smoke. They look too big to be birds, and one of them hovers in a way birds typically don't. What it is, we can't say, but it does pique our imaginations. Meteorite. It's often been thought that meteorites could trigger tsunamis due to their massive impact, but this meteorite appeared too late to be blamed for this tragic event. A 16-year-old identified only as Asuka filmed what she believed at the time to be a meteorite flying through the sky just hours after the natural disaster. Meteorite sightings are rare, and one coming after and not before a tsunami is even more unusual. So was this a meteorite that Asuka saw blazing through the sky? The short answer is maybe. We aren't sure what this is streaking through the sky. But many people were skeptical, to say the least. Some believe it's merely sunlight bouncing off an airplane flying through the sky, while others argue an aircraft would appear more defined. Whatever this bright blur is, it remains a mystery. Live fish. Okay, we know what you're thinking. Finding a fish in the aftermath of a tsunami? It isn't mysterious in the slightest. After all, they live in the ocean, and when ocean meets land, you're bound to encounter some sea creatures. The interesting part of these fish is that they're still alive and made their journey via boat. The registration number on the boat matched to a registration number from the region where the wave hit. When the boat was found completely upright and in relatively good condition on the shores of Long Beach, Washington, 5 striped beakfish were in the water on the floor of the boat. This shocked scientists, who would have assumed no species could survive a 5,000-mile boat ride across the Pacific, while also adjusting to a brand new boat-based ecosystem. So the real mystery isn't the fish, it's how on earth did they make it? They really put the pets from Homeward Bound to shame. Possession. In movies, a person is generally possessed by a spirit if they stumble onto an ancient artifact, read an evil incantation out loud, or play with a popular board game manufactured by Hasbro. Being possessed by a plethora of spirits after a large natural disaster is certainly a new one, but a man named Takashi Ono claimed that it happened to him, and local Zen priest Kaneda attests to it. Ono was fortunate enough to live inland of the disaster, but went to visit the wreckage with his wife and mother. Upon returning to his home, he reported feeling unusually lonesome. His mother and wife reported a different story that involved him screaming as if he was watching the tsunami disaster unfurl before him. They claimed he also rolled around on the floor and even began licking the furniture. At night, Ono claims he saw a muddied ghost visiting his house, although he felt surprisingly at peace with this. Kaneda claims that he was able to rid Ono of the spirits that plagued him. Whether or not this actually happened, we have no concrete evidence, but if there's one thing we learned from horror movies, it's to take the warnings of priests very seriously. Mystery creature. When this bizarre-looking creature washed up on shore after the tsunami, imaginations ran wild, and it's not hard to see why. This massive glob, as it was called, looks unlike anything most of us have ever seen. It appears to be a hairy white creature that some theorize may be an entirely new species, brought to shore by the massive waves. While we can definitely understand the urge to label this as a brand new species revealing itself from the depths of the ocean, the truth is slightly less exciting. What appears to be long white hairs is actually just decomposing muscle fibers. Large sea creatures rarely wash up on shore, and ones that have been floating at sea for this long are even more unusual to find. So what exactly is this creature? Well, that part does remain a mystery, since it's too badly decomposed to tell. But it's likely a whale or shark of some kind. Ghost Town. Even a year after the tragedy, the area struggled to rebuild. Not only is repairing the decimated area a huge undertaking in terms of architecture, it's also difficult for the townspeople emotionally. May explain the unusual things that locals claim to have seen around construction sites. Several reconstruction projects were stalled due to reports of ghostly figures lingering nearby. Locals fear the mysterious specters and worry that they may bring bad luck. According to cultural anthropologist Takeo Funubiki, the ghostly apparitions may be a sign that the area is healing in its own way. She explains that we find it difficult to accept death, especially when that death is sudden and unexpected. During this difficult time, many people find comfort in rituals designed to honor the dead, which can even take the form of believing we see the dead in the form of ghosts. People bond over the unusual sight of the spirits, and this kinship promotes healing. Giant oarfish. The giant oarfish is the largest bony fish in the world, and it can grow up to 36 feet in length. They prefer to live in the ocean where they feed on krill and other crustaceans. For this reason, it's very unusual to see them washed up on shore, and some people believe that seeing them on shore can be a bad omen of things to come. The appearance of a giant oarfish on the shore is thought to foretell a natural disaster of a serious magnitude, just like a tsunami. Prior to the tsunami in Japan, 10 oarfish were found on the shore or in fishing nets off the coast in the area where the tsunami hit. But is there any proof that correlation equals causation in this case? Some scientists believe that bottom-dwelling fish may be vulnerable to movement around seismic fault lines on the seafloor. This could cause them to behave in an unusual way and head towards the surface. In February of this year, a giant oarfish was found on the shore of the Philippines. Hopefully the mystery of the oarfish will linger, and the Philippines won't be the victim of the next natural disaster. Unexplained phone calls. We've all felt a shiver of fear crawl up our spines when we see the name on the caller ID. Maybe it's your girlfriend calling you an hour after you were due home. Or maybe it's just the fact it's a phone call at all. It's 2017, people. Learn to text. But a mysterious series of phone calls made to a fire station in TheHUB, Japan, had firefighters panicking when they saw who was calling. No, the calls weren't coming from inside the fire station. They were coming from buildings that had been destroyed in the tsunami. The mysterious callers begged the firefighters to come help buildings that had long since been destroyed. Firefighters responded to the calls anyway, but they spent their time on site praying for the spirits of those who had been lost. Whether a prankster finally gave up, or their kindness pacified the spirits of the departed, the calls finally stopped. Groups of UFOs. Besides the video of a UFO floating above a plume of smoke, we found one more video of several mysterious objects flying through the sky after a tsunami. The video shows a cluster of what appears to be 8 unidentified dots shining brightly against the sky. Rather than zooming around, they seem to be moving slowly around each other in an inexplicable manner. Of course, we can't confirm that these are actually alien ships from outer space, but that's the thing. We can't confirm what they are at all. Kinda makes you wonder. Some of these mysterious happenings definitely send a shiver up our spines. Strange things we don't fully understand happen on Earth frequently, and the Hub is here to help you try to make sense of it all. Make sure you don't miss a clue by hitting the subscribe button. See you next time.